was the biggest reason Isiah was left off the Dream Team?
They decided to take a collegiate player for some reason that year, and it was Christian Laettner, who, by the way, and everyone knew Shaq was going to be a better pro, but as a collegiate player, Christian Laettner was the big, won the championship, was a huge star, was a great, great player, but Isiah Thomas deserved to be there over Laettner, obviously. But I've heard a lot of stuff, like leaving Jordan and Magic, whoever else aside, I heard a lot of people, and I've been talking to some friends about this recently, say Isiah over Stockton. And while if push came to shove and I had to choose, I'm taking Isiah because he won 2 championships and was a finals MVP, and Stockton had a couple bites at the apple, though it was against a loaded Jordan team. So, Isiah would have lost to that team too, and did not win it. When you look at their primes, and especially how Stockton was playing at the time, Isiah was more of a scoring point guard, Stockton more of a passing point guard. Stockton was doubling his assists, leading the league every year, averaging over 13. He was a better shooter. When you think what you need on that team, especially with all those scorers and all those stars, maybe more of a facilitator. Even when you look at the defensive end, and Isiah was a great defensive player, Stockton was a 5-time all-NBA defensive player. Isiah Thomas never made the all-NBA defensive team. Stockton was considered the better defensive player. So when you look at the comparison of those two, where I guess I would take Isiah by a hair over Stockton, there's a totally legitimate argument that Stockton should have gone over Isiah. But the real guy that was on the team that shouldn't have been was Christian Laettner. Isiah should have been there instead of Christian Laettner.
Max Kellerman, I'm going to be very, very.
Be nice, Stephen A. Be nice.
I'm not going to jump all over you. It is all I'm going to say to you is it's not even close. There is no way in hell that you can make any kind of argument that John Stockton belonged on the team ahead of Isiah Thomas. I mean, that's really basketball blasphemy. But I'm just going to be nice.
Why?
I'm in a good mood. And I'm just not going to do it. But listen, he was just so much better. He was so much better as a player. And keep in mind that the multitude of years that John Stockton compiled those assists, he also had one of the all-time greats with Karl Malone in pick-and-roll situations. Yes, Isiah had a team. All of those things are no doubt. But keep in mind, you had guys that were known for their physicality and their ability to defend. They weren't necessarily scorers. Isiah was the captain. Isiah was a scorer. Isiah was a leader. Isiah was an assist man. Isiah was a defensive player. He was everything. John Stockton is not in the same class as Isiah Thomas.
I can make a legit class.
You can sit up there and say
Stockton. They're not even in the same category, Max. They're not even in the same category.
Not even in the same category.
But
let me go to my. Come on, guys. Let's come back to that in a second because we know where we stand with that, Jay. The basketball blasphemy. Now let's get to the real issue. Jordan, to me, has received entirely too much blame for Isiah being off the team. Dare I say, one of the biggest culprits, if you want to acknowledge it, is Irvin Magic Johnson. It's Irvin Magic Johnson that wrote the book authored by Jackie McMullen in concert with Larry Bird, where Irvin Magic Johnson said he didn't support Isiah being on the team. Now, keep in mind, Irvin Magic Johnson is one of the all-time greats, arguably should be on the Mount Rushmore of all of basketball, widely recognized as the greatest point guard in NBA history, 5-time champion, ultimate leader, a beautiful magnetic smile, affable personality, all of those things come into play. And he was Isiah Thomas's friend, best friend for many, many years. And all of a sudden, he's standing up and saying, Isiah doesn't need to be on this team because Scottie Pippen didn't want him on the team, obviously. Karl Malone spoke out against him, along with a plethora of others. Magic Johnson didn't have to chime in. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying that had to have had a profound impact. Guys like Clyde Drexler were not in support of Isiah Thomas being left off the team. Jack McCloskey, God rest his soul, he passed away, former GM with the Detroit Pistons. Chuck Daly, Charlie Grantham was the executive director for the Players Association. Quinn Buckner, guys like that were on the selection committee. They were in support of Isiah being on the team. McCloskey resigned resigned from the committee because Isiah Thomas was left off the team, okay? When you look at it from that perspective, considering the nuggets of support at the very least, he had to be on the team. It wasn't going to be somebody like Jordan who wants no part of it. Jordan's the kind of personality where Jordan could be on the team with you. Jordan don't have to talk to you. Jordan don't have to vibe with you. Jordan don't have to hang with you to be on the court and play ball with you. But other players did. Scottie Pippen acknowledged he didn't want Isiah Thomas on the team. I think Karl Malone did the same. But Earvin Magic Johnson, who later admitted in his book that obviously he played the role in it as well, he was one of the guys that did not support Isiah being on the team. I think that is the most profound impact to Isiah being off the team than anything else, based on the information I acquired.
SA, you hit the nail right on the head. I went back and I reread that book. I read it back then. And Magic also gives a lot of context to, and I'll be curious when he comes on the show on Monday when you guys can have these type of conversations with him. But he gives context, though, to the fact that, you know, when he was going through a lot of his stuff, there were rumors that were out there circling about supposedly his bisexuality or things of that sort that had came from his agent to him. And his agent had expounded to him that some of these things were coming from Isiah. That caused a major friction. Lon Rosen, that caused a major friction. Then you had the issue with the All-Star game and them kind of making up, but really not making up. So like that's the true context of it all. Because I agree with you. As bad as Michael Jordan was, I think Michael just would have said, it is what it is. I'll play. I don't like him, but I'll play. I'm trying to win. But I think Magic was the energy. Magic was the voice. Magic was the one that put his final stamp on that. And he alluded to that in the book, When the Game Was Ours. He says it right there, point and blank, black and white. Like I didn't want him on this team either. And I think that put the stamp on it.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.